Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for February 19th. February 19th is the 50th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 315 days remaining to the end of the year, 316 in leap years. The other day we looked at verklempt that came to English through Yiddish, and this made me curious as to what is Yiddish? What does that mean? So that's what we're going to look at today. The word Yiddish comes from German, where it originally meant Jewish German, and it's a language that originated as far back as the 800s in Central Europe. It's primarily a fusion of German dialects with Hebrew, Aramaic, and Slavic languages, along with influences from Romance languages. Over the centuries, Yiddish developed into a fully formed language with its own dialects and uses the Hebrew alphabet for its written form. The number of Yiddish speakers declined significantly as a result of the Holocaust and assimilation, but there has been a resurgence of interest in Yiddish language and culture in recent decades, with efforts to preserve and revitalize it. As I mentioned, the language itself has been around since the 800s, but first known use of the word Yiddish is in the 1870s. Yiddish. And remember, if you have a word you'd like to see in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. As I read this, it's 2024, and February 19th falls on a Monday. Not just any Monday, though, but the third Monday of February, which is President's Day in the United States. According to an article on the National Archives website, on the third Monday in February, we honor our first president, George Washington, whose birthday is February 22nd. We also traditionally honor President Abraham Lincoln, whose birthday is February 12th. Washington's birthday was the first federal holiday to honor an individual's birth date. In 1885, Congress designated February 22nd as a holiday for all federal workers. Nearly a century later, in 1971, the Uniform Monday holiday law changed the date to the third Monday in February. The position of the holiday between the birthdays of Washington and Abraham Lincoln gave rise to the popular name of President's Day, and so it is that today is President's Day in the United States, a federal holiday. United States Postal Service and post offices will be closed, the banks will be closed, and if you like to trade stocks, all major U.S. stock markets will be closed as well. And with that, we're going to talk today about volcanoes in general and one in particular. There are several different kinds of volcanoes on this lovely planet that we call home. Three classic kinds are cinder cone volcanoes, shield volcanoes, and composite or stratovolcanoes. There are also volcanic domes, fissure volcanoes, calderas, supervolcanoes, and some other types, but we're going to focus on the classics right now. Cinder cone volcanoes are the most common type of volcano in the world and look like you might expect a volcano to look, with steep conical hills and a crater at the top. Also known as scoria cones, they are composed of bits of volcanic rock that was ejected from the volcano as molten rock and cooled in the air before it came back to the ground. These bits of volcanic rock are called scoria. Craters of the Moon National Monument in Idaho is home to 25 cinder cones. Next, we have the shield volcanoes. Shield volcanoes are broad-based, not very tall, with gentle slopes. This gives them an effect like a warrior's shield laying on the earth. Shield volcanoes are the largest volcanoes on Earth and are typically composed of lava flows that were more fluid and simply flowed out onto the surrounding area, building height with a gentle slope and a very wide base, layer after layer. Mauna Loa in Hawaii is a shield volcano. Mauna Loa is the largest active volcano on the planet and is almost 33,500 feet, or 10,211 meters tall, from its base on the ocean floor, over 12 times taller than the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, currently the tallest building in the world, And Mauna Loa's base on the ocean floor is about 100 miles or 160 kilometers wide. That's how shield volcanoes are. Then we have what are called composite volcanoes, sometimes also called stratovolcanoes. They're called composite volcanoes because they've been built up over time, like the cinder cone volcanoes, and layer after layer, like the shield volcanoes. But where the shield volcanoes emit more fluid lava that simply flows out over the ground, stratovolcanoes tend to emit a more viscous or thicker and stickier lava that flows, but not so far from where it erupted. You might say that composite or stratovolcanoes are the middle child, being more common than shield volcanoes, less common than cinder cone volcanoes. Mount Vesuvius in Italy, Krakatoa in Indonesia, and Mount St. Helens in Washington State in the U.S. are composite or stratovolcanoes. That said, on February 19th in the year 1600, a stratovolcano in Peru called Huayna Putina exploded in the most violent eruption in the recorded history of South America. It killed at least 1,000 to 1,500 people in the region and wiped out vegetation, buried the surrounding area with 2 meters, 7 feet of volcanic rock, and caused a phenomenon known as volcanic winter, where the volcanic gases and ash create sort of a cloud cover effect that reflects solar radiation and cools the atmosphere quite noticeably. Fortunately, Huayna Putina has not erupted like that again since then, although there are fissures that eject hot volcanic gases, and there are some hot springs in the area. The Southern Volcanological Observatory monitors Huayna Putina for any changes in activity. The name Huayna Putina, by the way, was given to the volcano after this eruption in 1600, and it means new fire-throwing mountain, as this was the first time in recorded history that this particular volcano had thrown fire. Huayna Putina. Now, this is another day where I've talked a lot about a few things, and if you're curious about what else I might have talked about in regards to February 19th and previous years, I'll leave a link to one of those episodes. Also, that survey that I mentioned on Friday is still up in case you'd like to weigh in. Of course, earthquakes and volcanoes are different, but they are related, and all this talk about volcanoes made me think of Carole King's song, I Feel the Earth Move. Written by Carole King and released in 1971 on her second album, Tapestry, I Feel the Earth Move was intended to be the A-side as a single from that album, with It's Too Late as the B-side. Turns out, the radio DJs and the listening audience liked both of those songs. I Feel the Earth Move hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on June 19, 1971, and held that spot for 5 weeks, and also earned a spot on the Recording Industry Association of America, that's RIAA, their list of 365 songs of the century. I Feel the Earth Move by Carole King. Link in the description. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. This is the birthday.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. Me and my mouth. John, are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. We got to make that be quiet. You got to read the black part. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for, where's your microphone? Okay, we don't want to say the same thing twice. Get your microphone. What is it with you and this microphone? Okay, here we go. Okay, we are still recording. That's How about that? We'll have a lot to edit today. Cacophony is a sound. Cacophony is a noun that you got to read it the right way. Let's start over. It's 8 o'clock, so all of the reminders are going to be dinging. I forgot to turn those off. Okay, stop it. It's 8 o'clock. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.